I'll probably never vine ripen tomatoes again before picking them. I don't wait for them to ripen. Instead, picking them at the breaker stage. The first reason is, number one, you'll boost harvest by picking tomatoes off the plant. Too many tomatoes on a single plant will slow down the production of new tomato flowers. If you pick tomato at what's called the breaker stage, the tomato that you picked will taste the same as a tomato ripened on the vine and won't lose any flavor or taste like a grocery store tomatoes. Instead, picking tomatoes at the breaker stage will actually boost your tomato harvest by tricking the plant into thinking that the fruit has been removed, so it will put out new tomato fruit blossom. Removing tomatoes sooner will allow new blossoms to form faster, which will increase your tomato harvest. The second reason for why I'll probably never vine ripen a tomato again is because of this. This is what happens when you vine ripen a tomato. They get attacked and eaten by pests, and that's not even the worst part. For some reason, whatever that is eating my tomato only seems to like taking a small bite out of it and then moves to another tomato. So it goes on trying to destroy my entire tomato harvest instead of only just one tomato. Why can't they just be happy with one and leave the rest for me? But when I harvest tomatoes at the breaker stage, most of them have no damage and are like picture perfect. It will also taste no different or lose any of its nutrition, but will be the same everything as a vine ripened tomato once it fully ripens off the vine. And the tomato picked at or after this stage will be equal to a vine ripened tomato. Now you might also be wondering, if tomatoes that are shipped to the grocery store are picked at the breaker stage, then why do they taste so bland? Well, that's exactly it. The tomatoes that are picked at the grocery stores, the growers do not pick them at the breaker stage, but instead when they're at the green maturity stage. They do that so the tomatoes can remain hard all through transportation. Because if you think about it, if a tomato gets dropped and it's a fully ripe tomato, it will easily get a soft spot and the customers won't like that.
And somebody will be losing some money there.
They place them into rooms to artificially change the color of the tomato so that it looks like a ripe tomato. But it'll never taste like a homegrown tomato because they could only add ethylene gas to change the color of the fruit, but they can't add back flavor to tomatoes that were picked green. And don't even bother with those vine ripened tomatoes from the store because this is basically what it just is. That's right, they just cut the tomato at the stem and say, this little portion of vine is connected. And what could this little portion of vine do? Not that much. It's the plant, rather, that gives the tomato the nutrition and the flavor that you get when you bite into it. But as backyard growers, we don't have to worry about tomatoes bruising in transportation, and we don't need to pick them green, so we can enjoy the full flavor of tomatoes. So when is the breaker stage in the life of a single tomato? This tomato is one that is at the green maturity stage, and it's when farmers growing tomatoes for the store have to pick them. But we don't want to pick tomatoes at this stage because they don't have any flavor in them yet. Whereas this tomato is at the breaker stage, being disconnected from the main plant. You don't lose anything that a fully ripened tomato would have, except maybe the bugs and critter, which I'll gladly accept losing. So we'll go ahead and grab this one here. And this is what happens if you fully let your tomatoes vine ripen. Just look at the holes in here. Now it's not all the same for all the tomatoes, like these cherry tomatoes for example, but beside my cherry tomatoes, all the other tomatoes practically are the same and get eaten. So maybe I'll still keep picking cherry tomatoes vine ripened. But I guess for the rest of my bigger tomatoes, I'll have to pick them at the breaker stage and finish ripening them indoors. I ripen my own tomatoes by first picking them at the breaker stage, and then I'll bring them indoors. And I'll just place them in a bag or down on the countertop and add a banana right beside with it. Banana releases ethylene gases naturally as it ripens and will speed up the ripening of our tomatoes. And when ripening tomatoes indoors, make sure to place your tomatoes upside down because the bottom tends to get soft faster. Well, this video been a shocking one and a revealing one. If you made it to this point in the video so far, then you'll most likely like more videos like this one too. So prove it by watching this video over here on simple tips for getting more tomatoes from the tomato plants you already have.